Hey, my friend. Welcome back to the Cosmic Mystic. Danie C. Muniz here, where we blend strategy and soul work to help you build a soul aligned life and business that fully supports your soul's mission. If we have not met yet, hello, hi. I am Danie C. Muniz, the creator of the Inner Alchemy Method, a 5-stage journey to soul led sovereignty where deep healing meets embodied leadership. I guide high achieving spiritual women to reclaim their power, embody their truth, and lead from within. I'm so blessed and honored to bring this week's Sidereal Astrology Forecast, where we are looking at working with the energetic currents that are within and around us so that we can align with our sacred rhythm and really step into our place of deep alignment. So let's do my favorite thing to kick off these videos, which is our state of the planet. And a couple of notes to remind ourselves here. First off, this is this week's sidereal astrology forecast for June 16th through the 22nd. If you're looking for the full overview of June, we do have a full overview where you can hear all about what is happening. And each week, these videos are specifically designed to help you navigate this current week. We also have this on the Cosmic Mystic podcast. So if you're listening on the podcast, we also have the YouTube video as well. So you can watch the video or you can listen to the podcast. We've got them both for you in case, however you choose to watch or to get this information. So without further ado, my friend, let's move into our forecast. All right, so state of the planets. We've got our sun conjunct Jupiter right now. We've had that since the beginning of this week. It's actually really late in on Sunday and beginning here on Monday, where it is actually coming into its conjunction. So we have the Sun and Jupiter both in Gemini. We saw Jupiter move into Gemini a little bit ago, but now the Sun is meeting Jupiter there. So we'll talk about that in a bit. We've also got Mercury over here in Gemini, who'll be in there just a little bit longer before it goes retrograde. And then we've got Uranus over here in Taurus. We've got both Venus and Chiron in Aries. We've got Neptune and Saturn over here in Pisces, and they are conjunct. We've also got our North Node here in Aquarius. We've got our moon kicking off this week in Aquarius. We've got Pluto over here in Capricorn, still retrograde. And we've got Mars over here in Leo, who we talked about last week. All right, let's dive into this sun. I do want to remind you that we have that Sun square Saturn that we saw kick off. We talked about last week, and that kicked off on Sunday and is going to be here for till the 28th. So just before the end of the month here in June, we're going to see that Sun square Saturn. Now, I wanted to remind you because as I said in that last video and in the June overview, this can be a little bit challenging. This is that dark cloud that kind of comes over and kind of makes things a little bit tougher, can really bring in the pessimism and the depression, making things feel burdensome and like all this responsibility. And it is here to really help us identify some things that we're feeling limited by. So I want you to pay attention to anything that you're feeling. If you do start to feel pessimistic about or any type of depression around this, I'm going to recommend that you look at what are the themes of some of those things? What are the themes of the pessimism, right? Oh, I'm so frustrated because I can't do this, or this never works out for me. Like any language like that, and whatever that thing is, that's a really good indicator that there is something in there that is wanting to come forward, that is wanting to come out, that you're not happy with, right? That you're not satisfied with, that is wanting to come into consciousness and be like, we need to do something different, right? That's basically what this is saying is there's something here that we need to do different, or we want to do different, but we can't quite maybe see it. And so sitting with that, allowing yourself to feel into, well, what might it be, right? When or if this starts coming on for you. You might also feel like an increased pressure. What is that pressure? What is that pressure that you're feeling? What is behind that, right? All right, the next thing is going to be our Sun and Jupiter. So, the way that I like to talk about conjunctions is that Jupiter gets visited by the Sun. So, Jupiter's hanging out, doing its thing, and it comes and Sun decides to come hang out with Jupiter for a few days. So these energies come together, right? When you have a friend that comes stay with you or family that comes stay with you, what happens, right? You guys do things together. Your energies start to mix and you help each other, you support each other, you connect with each other, you use each other's strengths as well as challenges, right? Both of those come into play. And so the general mood here when Sun comes to Jupiter is there's just this sense of well-being, a sense of happiness, a sense of optimism that comes in, where it's really a beautiful time for us to talk about new projects or new things happening, especially in our personal growth and our professional development, right? There's this new opportunity for us. Jupiter loves to expand things. So it's almost as if the Sun comes and it's telling him like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And Jupiter's like, oh, we could do this and we could do this and you could take it to this level, right? And it helps expand the thinking, helps expand the ideas that the Sun has, which is really beautiful, right? Really up leveling that thinking. Now, some of the things to be cautious of, though, with this particular aspect is because Jupiter does love to expand everything because that's its nature is to magnify. It magnifies what's already there. Because we have this Saturn square Sun, it's almost as if the Sun is coming with some baggage. I want you to think about this for a second, my friend, because this might help you in what you might start to see over the next, week or two. Is let's say you have a friend come visit, and this friend has just had this really challenging experience, whether that was at work, whether it was with their boyfriend, their spouse, their children, and they're just having a really hard time. And they come to visit, and you're there trying to support them, but they are just in it, right? They're in it so much and it's so hard. They can't even see that glimmer of light. And you're trying so hard to show them hope and show them possibility, but they are stuck in what they're stuck in, right? And so it's almost like that. It's like the Sun is coming and it's got a little bit of baggage with it because it's kind of hanging on to this Saturn influence, and it's trying to be positive. It wants to be better. It wants to be optimistic. It wants to dream, but it's got this little bit of baggage lingering. So if you start to feel like that, my friend, remember this too shall pass, right? This is a transit. This is bringing this up for us to identify and be aware of, like, how, like, I want you to think about what would happen if this is going on and you're experiencing this and you're able to move through this. How much more is that going to build in your confidence, in your self assurance, in your worthiness as you're able to move through this, right? Is identify it and notice what it is, right? Be the observer of this and be able to move through this without getting sucked into it. Now, on the flip side, you might become aware of it, but you still might not understand what is going on, what is happening. And that's perfectly fine too. It's not like you, what I would caution, my biggest caution is do your best to not get caught up in it, right? This is why I do these forecasts, this is why I tell you about this information, because I want you to be prepared. I want you to have, some foresight of like, okay, this is potential. I'm not saying this is, it's potential to happen. So I'm going to be aware of if I start to go down that road, I'm aware that there is something here for me, right? Instead of being like swept up in it all. I often say for many years of my life, I was in the back seat of the car. I was just letting everything happen. And then I stepped into the passenger seat in the front, right? I started to get a little bit more involved and then stepped into the driver's seat of my life. And so no matter where you are, if you want to look at it from that standpoint of where you are in the car, this information is like for you ahead, right? Even when I was in the back seat and if I would have heard this information, which I probably did, but didn't pay attention because I was probably had my headphones on and was totally blocking out everything and not paying attention. It's probably in my own mind at that time that I didn't see the caution signs, right? I didn't see the lights ahead that were telling me to slow down or to stop or to go back, right? So that is what this is kind of happening with the sun. Now, there's one other aspect in here that I want to talk about because we talked about that the Saturn and Neptune were conjunct, which also means then that the sun is going to be square Neptune. Okay. And this is also the same time frame of Saturn. So from the 15th through the 28th. Actually, I think Neptune comes in on the 16th. Now, the other aspect that's in here is Neptune can tend to weaken the strength of the sun. It can make it a lot harder to be motivated. It can make it confused. It can cause things to be a little confusing and not quite clear. We might have some insecurities that we might be feeling, or more apologetic or feeling guilt about something, or maybe even over idealizing things, making things, with those rose colored glasses and everything's good, everything's fine, right? That idea everything's fine, nothing to look at here, right? There is also some dishonesty or deception can happen here, and it's just really that we're just not seeing things clearly. There's some confusion here. This is coming in here all together. So again, we'll add into that idea of the sun having its baggage with Saturn coming to visit Jupiter. Jupiter trying its best to be optimistic and to give hope, but it could also, right, go down that negative alley with the sun. And then the sun's feeling weak and it's confused and it doesn't know what to do. And it just wants to stay at the house with Jupiter and get the blanket and get the junk food and just chill, right? It doesn't want to do anything because nothing's making sense. It's so confused and it doesn't know what to do. Or it's sitting there saying, like, yeah, but, right? Yes, they did this, but we are so good together. But we have such great times together, and really discounting the things that are happening, the reality, right? So I want you to just keep this in mind as we move through the next couple of weeks, because that can be pretty intense, my friend, right? Especially, and maybe even so, it might not necessarily be you. Maybe you're like, I'm actually like, okay, I'm aware that there are some things coming up, but you might have the friend that comes to stay with you. You might be Jupiter and your friend might be the sun or a family member or somebody, a coworker or peer that you get connected with. It's just having a hard time. And you're the one trying your hardest to keep that positivity and that hope for that person. All right, moving on to where our moon is going to be this week. Our moon is going to be moving through Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries. So we kick off on Monday with the moon in Aquarius, as I mentioned at the very top of the video. So Aquarius is more of a air, it's an air sign. So it's more of like, there's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of wanting to do things outside of the box, do things differently. So there's a lot of good energy here at the beginning of the week, Monday through Wednesday, to really allow for new innovative ideas, to think of things outside of the box. If you might be stuck on something, if any of this stuff is coming up, right, with what we just talked about with the sun, if any of this is coming up, this is a great time to look at this as, how can I look at this differently, right? How can I think of this differently? How can I move forward with this differently? Now, on Thursday and Friday, the moon is going to move, and this is actually Wednesday, probably. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, Pisces, moon moves into Pisces, and it's going to come close to this Saturn and Neptune right here on Wednesday. And I want to bring that into note because this might be a pretty heavy day. This is where a lot might be really sinking in. So just whatever you can do to stay aware and awake to what you are doing and what is going on around you is going to be extremely important, because things might get a little funky here, and even bringing in that cloudiness with Neptune. Because we're talking about it all being in Pisces, this can also, again, that idea of over idealizing something, or even just deception, just not quite seeing things clearly. And so I would recommend not to make any major decisions right here on this Wednesday, even Thursday. Not the best time to make any really big decisions. But Pisces is really good for creative work, for dream work, for dreaminess, for allowing yourself to connect in with source, with the divine, with God. All right. And then moving on. So this will be here until Friday, where we will move into Friday afternoon. We will move into Aries. And so Aries is going to carry us through the weekend. Now, Aries is a fire sign. It is the starter energy. It is like, let's go, let's get these things done, let's move forward. And so we might feel towards the end of that week a rush of energy to kind of move things forward. The hesitation I do have here with Aries is quick decisions and rash decisions can happen. So especially if things have been kind of crazy, kind of complicated there on that Wednesday, we could see some decisions being made right later in that week that are quick and fast, and like, I'm done, I'm over this now, which can be really good if you're like, I'm done feeling this way, I'm done with this belief, I'm done with this habit, I'm done with this idea, I'm done being this way, I'm done with this identity that I've chosen, I'm ready to choose something different. Great energy for that. Could be a little bit more challenging if you're making a rash decision without really thinking things all the way through. Now, because we are in Gemini season, and because some of the energy that we're going to talk about with Mercury just next, we might be having all the thoughts about things. And so any way that you can get that information out of you, whether that be through some somatic breath work, through journaling, or talking with a guide, a counselor, a coach of some sort, a mentor. All right, let's talk about Mercury. Mercury is on a couple things I want to talk about that are coming here on the edge of the week, which is Friday. First, we've got Mercury square Chiron. And on this particular day, it is going to be with the moon. So this, again, could still be, there could be a lot of, I would say here, rash thinking in particular, because some of the things that are coming up with Chiron. Now, one of the really beautiful things with Mercury and Chiron is that we can actually use our voice, we can share our story, we can allow ourselves to heal through the communication, through being able to think things through. Now, the other thing I want to say here is that Mercury is going to be moving out of Gemini, and it's going to be moving in to Cancer. So right here, we'll see at the edge of the week on Sunday, the Mercury is going to move out of Gemini and into Cancer. Now, it will be here for quite a bit because there is going to be a retrograde period that starts in July 18th in Cancer. And then it's going to go back, right? Again, once it goes direct through Cancer. So we're really not going to see Mercury move out of Cancer until late August, early September. So we've got quite a while with this energy. Now, Mercury in Cancer, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of nurturing, supportive energy. It's connected to the moon. It's a water sign. And so there's a lot of emotional energy here. So when we think about emotions and when we think about thoughts and thinking, these two are working together. And so our thoughts might be more emotionally driven. And so we can use that. You know that I always see this. I don't see things as good or bad. I see them as they are. We get to choose what we put on them. So if we are thinking, emotionally driven. Well, sometimes I need to be emotionally driven to take action on something, to do something. And then I also can be so much in my emotion that I am not looking at fact, right? I'm not looking at logic. I'm bypassing logic and I'm going straight with emotion. So both ideas can happen. Both have their positives, both have their challenges. So I want you to consider this as all of this that I've been talking about with the sun, with Mercury here now, all of this energy coming through. Your thoughts and how you see things and the stories that you're telling are going to be so important. This is one of the reasons why I love somatic breath work. And there's an actual somatic awareness practice that you can download. I did it on the podcast a while ago, and I took that snippet, and you can download that to walk you through this practice from a bottom up idea where we're not just starting with the mind, we're actually starting with the body. And it is a really great exercise. It probably only takes 5 minutes. You can take it longer if you'd like, but it's a way for you to tune in to figure out what stories am I telling? What am I making up, or what am I saying? And what is it actually that I need or desire right now? And I'm going to recommend that practice on a daily, especially through the rest of this month. All right, my friend, that wraps up this video for our Sidereal Astrology Forecast for June 16th through the 22nd. If you would, again, like to get the whole overview and hear about our upcoming new moon on the 25th and our last full moon that happened on the 11th. Be sure to check out that June overview. I've also got the June lunar journal that you can check out that has journal prompts to kind of go through these things. Even if we don't do them under the new moon or full moon, they are still really great journal prompts to go through to kind of move through some of this energy that we have going on right now. You can find all of that down in the description and in the show notes. All right, my friend, until next time, remember to keep shining your unique light.